Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Wednesday, November 6th. We are up to Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33, and this is where it starts to talk about the fact that the Lord will restore Israel. Let's dig into this. So verse 33 says, "As I live, declares the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and with wrath poured out, I will be king over you." Now, this fact that it's poured out really jumped out at me, because when we go back up to Ezekiel 20, verse 28, we saw that the drink offering is poured out. And that drink offering, if it's done to the Lord, is a beautiful, wonderful thing. It's very holy. It could be a wine offering. It could be anointing oil being poured. There's lots of things that can be poured that are very holy. And God's wrath is no exception. That is also very holy. Remember, God is sovereign. He cannot be near sin. And without the price that Jesus paid on that cross, we don't have any redemption that is permanent. And that's where these people are. So God is saying, I'm going to outstretch my arm and I'm going to pour my wrath upon you. Now, when something is poured, think about when you take a pitcher of water and you dump it over your head. It hits every crevice, every crack, every nuance where that water hits. So it doesn't miss anything when something is poured out. Now, I can throw a bunch of rocks on my sidewalk and there would be lots of crevices that weren't touched. But when I pour a fluid like water over a sidewalk, every crack, every nuance is touched. Then we get to verse 34. "I will bring you out from the peoples and gather you out of the countries where you are scattered with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out." Now, in the ESV Fire Study Bible, we've got a note here that says, God promised to bring Israel back from the captivity after he had purged out the rebels and evildoers. Then a faithful remnant, a portion of the people who trusted God, would return to the land and would no longer dishonor God. God's name by disobedience or idol worship would no longer dishonor God's name by disobedience or idol worship. Instead, they would enjoy the blessings of the new covenant. So as we look at this, this is God saying, I am still preserving that remnant. I'm going to pour my wrath out on the people that have been exiled, that are involved in this idolatry. But this remnant, they're going to come back to Israel, and I'm going to care for them. Verse 35, "And I will bring you into the wilderness of the peoples, and there I will enter into judgment with you face to face. As I entered into judgment with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so I will enter into judgment with you, declares the Lord God. I will make you pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. I will purge out the rebels from among you, and those who transgress against me. I will bring them out of the land where they sojourn, but they shall not enter the land of Israel. Then you will know that I am the Lord." So a comparison's being drawn here of the Exodus that happens in the book of Exodus, where the people that are rebellious are not permitted to enter into that promised land. Now God is saying, I'm going to bring these people out of their exile, and as they are traveling through the wilderness, I'm going to purge out the rebels. I'm going to purge out the people that have blasphemed against me. I'm going to purge out the people that are treacherous and involved in that idolatry. And the ones that go back into that promised land are going to be the remnant. They're going to be the ones that have been preserved and stayed true to my word. And they're going to reap that benefit. As we think about how this applies to our lives, we have to remember that God is holy and God is not going to tolerate idolatry. He's not going to let it go. He's too holy to turn a blind eye to it. So we've got to be aware of what those idols are in our lives. And in modern day times, It doesn't mean that you make a statue and you burn it and you kill an animal and put the animal in front of the statue. It looks different. It's anything that pulls you away from God, anything that takes your time away from God is idolatry, and we need to be very mindful of it. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.